Hello folks, this is Tom Martin. This is my lottery strategy game, Decoding the Powerball guessing game. I'm picking my numbers to the drawing on October 26, 2019. If you'd like to get my game Decoding the Powerball, then please email me at decodingpowerball@gmail.com. Thank you, and please subscribe. Okay, so the object of my game is for you to correctly eliminate groups of numbers. There are 69 white ball numbers in the Powerball lottery. Only 5 numbers can come up as winners, so that means 64 numbers can't come up at all. So for me, I think it should be easier to pick the numbers that won't be coming up than the 5 that actually do. So to help me do that, I'm going to turn to the 5 strategies of my game. So strategies 1 and 2, the game card color code, and the 50-50 picks. Okay, so if you've never seen my videos before, why I make them is to show you on how to use my game. Okay, so what you're looking at here is what I call the game card. This is a format that I came up with that represents the 69 white ball numbers in the Powerball lottery. I really don't have anything for the Powerball itself. My goal is to get all 5 white balls correct and win the $2 million prize at the Power Play option. Okay, so first things first is I'm going to go to the Powerball homepage, and the 5 white winning numbers that just came up were the 5, 12, 50, 61, and 69. Again, I really don't have anything for the red ball. Okay, so moving on here, what I do is I take those 5 white winning numbers and I put it at the top of this list. And now I'm going to find out what colors they were. Okay, so the 5 was red, the 12 was red, the 50 was blue, the 61 was purple, and the 69 was blue. Okay, so I'm going to color these in. So again, the 5 and the 12 were red. The 50 and the 69 were blue. And the 61 was purple. Okay, so now I'm going to count how many colors I have. So I got 2 red, 2 purple, and 2 red, 2 blue, and a purple for 3 colors total. So up here, I'm going to make this 377 color code drawings I kept track of so far. And now a 3 color combination has now come up 200 times. Okay, so if you divide 200 into 377, you're going to see that a 3 color combination comes up more than half the time. Okay, and to me that's huge because long term, if I just keep on picking a 3 color combination, I know statistically I'm going to be correct more than half the time. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to make a new game card. So I'm going to get rid of all these colors and start from scratch. Okay, so my color code is right here. Here's the red numbers, the orange, the green, the blue, and whatever's left over is purple. So I got 69 white ball numbers. I divided it by 5 colors, and that equals 13.8. Okay, so my goal is to get as close to as 13 or 14 numbers per color as possible. Okay, or a good representation of each color. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to start in with the red numbers. Now the red numbers are the last 3 drawings of numbers, and the reason why that is because this will give me a maximum of 15 numbers. Okay, so again, I'm going to start in with the 5, the 12, the 50, the 61, and the 69. The next line down is the 14, the 27, 29, 59, and 65. Okay, so that was the 59 and 65. Okay, and the next line down is the 1. The 5 is already taken, so the 25, the 63, and the 67. So again, I'm going to make these red numbers. And now I'm going to count how many I have. So I got 3 and 3 are 6, 2 are 8, 3 are 11, and 3 are 14. So up here, I'm going to make this 14. So this tells me of how many of each color I have on the game card. So for this drawing, I have 14 red numbers. Okay, so moving on to the orange. Here's the orange area. So I'm going to start with the 12. And you can see that's already taken. So I'll move on to the 29. And that's taken. So I'll go to the 34. The 53. The 65 is taken. So the next line down is the 5. That's taken. So the 18. The 33. 43, 65 is already taken, so the next line down is the 6. 14 is taken, so the 36, 51, and 54. And the last line is the 4, 8, 10, 43 is taken, and the 53 is taken. So again, I'm going to make these orange numbers. And now we're going to count how many I have. So I got 2 over here, and 2 are 4. 1 is 5. 5 is 10, and 2 are 12. So here I'm going to make this 12. Okay? So I think you understand how I came up with the colors for my game card here. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to speed things up by scrolling to the right here. And this is what the game card looks like for October 25th, 2019. I have turned out to be 14 red numbers, 12 orange, 17 green, 12 blue, and 14 purple numbers. Okay? So again, more than half the time, a 3-color combination comes up. Okay? So that means more than half the time, 2 colors are not coming up. And that's what I want to focus on here, okay? So again, the object of the game is to eliminate groups of numbers, okay? So the strategy here is try to correctly guess what color group will not be coming up and eliminate that group of numbers off of the game card, okay? So I want to point out that all 5 colors do come up. It's come up 13 times out of 382 drawings, okay? So it does come up, but it's very rare, okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a prediction on what color group I don't think is going to come up. And to help me make a decision, I'm going to turn to the next strategy called the 50-50 picks. Okay, so what you're looking at here is what I call the 50-50 picks. So again, there's 5 white winning Powerball numbers, okay? So there has to be a majority of either odd numbers or even numbers, or numbers to the high side or numbers to the low side. So I like to keep track of that and try to correctly guess what the majority will be for the upcoming drawing, okay? So, as you can see, I'm going to go back to the game card here, and I have 1 odd number, even, odd, odd. So 3 odd numbers and 2 even. So you can see that I kept track of 423 drawings here, okay? And basically this goes back to October 7th, 2015. That's when the Powerball lottery went from 59 numbers to 69 numbers, okay? So out of this 423 drawings, 224 drawings have been the majority of odd numbers, and 199 drawings have been the majority of even numbers, okay? So what I do here is I like to break things down into 5 so it shows me that majority. So out of this 5 drawings, you can see the majority was odd numbers, 3 drawings to 2, okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to predict that there's going to be more even numbers coming up here. Okay, so you can see the last 5 drawings have been all the majority of odd numbers. So I think it's going to switch over to evens. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to the game card and I'm going to write that down, that I think that there's going to be more even numbers than odd numbers. Okay, so I just like to write that down. So the next one is high and low. So all the numbers in red are considered high numbers. All the ones in blue are considered low. Okay. So the last drawing, there was more numbers to the high side than the low side. Okay. And what I'm going to predict that it's going to go back to low. Okay. So I think at least 3 numbers are going to be here in the blue area. So I'm going to write that down as well. More to the low side than the high. Okay. So going back, I got a couple more here. I got left and right. And what I think is going to happen is as I go down through, you're going to see that it's been to the right side for a good amount of time here. So I'm going to predict that more numbers are going to be over here to the left side than the right side. So I'm going to write that down as well. Okay, so one last one I have is this red and blue area here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to predict that it's going to be more to the blue side. Okay, so you can see that the red has 230 drawings and blue has 193. So blue is pretty far behind, and I'm going to predict that more numbers are going to be in this blue area than the red. So I'm going to write that down as well. Okay, so I'm going to make a prediction on what color group is going to come up. So again, I think more numbers are going to be over here to this blue area here, okay? And what I'm going to do is I'm going to predict that no red numbers are going to come up, okay? So there's a couple of reasons why I'm picking that. And one is, again, I think less numbers are going to be here in this area here as I go back to the 50-50 picks. I think less numbers are going to be in this red area, okay? So another thing is I think more even numbers are going to come up, and as you look at the red numbers, a lot of them are odd, okay? So one last reason is a red number has come up in the last 8 drawings as well, okay? So I'm going to predict it's going to be like this where you see no red numbers, okay? So I'm going to block these numbers out. Okay, so just give me a second because there's 14 of them. Okay, so when I block out numbers like this means that I'm not even going to consider these numbers when I'm picking what I think would be the 5 white winning Powerball numbers, okay? So what I'm doing here is I'm spending $3 on a Powerball ticket, which includes the power play, okay? So in other words, I'm betting $3 that none of these red numbers will come up in the next drawing. So if I'm correct with my bet and none of these red numbers come up, then I'm one step closer to that $2 million prize. Okay, so I'm off to the next strategy. And that's strategy number 3, the individual numbers. Okay, so what you're looking at here is what I call the individual numbers. Okay, so what I did is I broke the 69 numbers down into 7 different groups. Okay, so here's group number 1. It holds the numbers of 1 through 9. Of course, this is the only group with 9 numbers where the other 6 have 10 numbers to it. Okay, so what I do here is here's the winning Powerball numbers that just came up. Okay, so as I follow this plane, you're going to see that I have the 5 here. That square is colored red, and the reason why that is because the 5 is red, okay? Now the 5 is red because the color code said it was red, okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to reduce this down so you can see the whole card. And I'll explain how to read it here. Okay, so what I like to do is I like to break things down into 5, mostly so it will show me that majority, but here it's a little bit different, okay? The reason why I like to break it down here is, 1, it's easier to count going back into the history, going 5, 10, 15, 20, and so on, okay? But my theory is that if there's a lot of hits within this 5 drawings, then maybe there won't be so many hits in the next 5 drawings, okay? So again, there's 7 groups here, and there's only 5 white winning Powerball numbers. So I know that 2 of these groups cannot have a winning Powerball number to it. So the strategy is try to correctly guess what group will not have the winning Powerball number to it and eliminate that group of numbers off of the game card. Okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to predict that no 60 numbers are going to come up. Okay? And the reason why is because a 60 number has come up in the last 5 drawings. Okay? Now, going through the history of things, I know that when it reaches 5 drawings in a row, it's like 95% of the time it doesn't go 6 times in a row, okay? For whatever reason, okay? So I'm going to predict that no 60 numbers are going to come up. So I'm going to blow this back up. I'm going to go back to the game card, and I'm going to eliminate the 60 numbers off of my game card. Okay, so the 66 is up here. The 68, 60, 62, and 64 are the only ones left. So I'll get rid of those, and hopefully none of those 60 numbers come up. Okay, so moving on to the next strategy, and that's strategy number 4, picking the numbers I hope will miss from group 1. Okay, so what you're looking at here is what I call my group 1 numbers. Okay, so basically what I did is I took all the numbers and I divided it into 4 different color groups. Okay, so when the 5 white winning Powerball numbers come up, I record where they land within these color groups down here in the stats. Okay, so here in the last drawing, you can see that the 5 came up, so that's in blue. So I got one in blue. Okay, the 12 came up, so I got one in red. The 50 came up, so I got one in orange. And the 61 and 69 came up, so I have 2 in green. Okay, So the drawing before this, you can see that there was no green numbers, okay? So the strategy is try to correctly guess where these zeros are going to pop up. Now the last drawing, if I could have correctly guessed that none of these green numbers were going to come up, I could have eliminated all these green numbers and gave myself a much better chance of winning some kind of prize in the Powerball lottery, okay? So I have 15 of these option cards here, and they all have the same colors as red, blue, orange, and green. It's just that the numbers that they represent are a little bit different from each other from each different option card. Okay, so I have a group 1 overview, and this is it right here. Okay, so what this is out of the 15 option cards, the last drawing there was 3 zeros in the red areas for all 15 option cards. Okay, so here's the thing: if there's a third of the option cards or 5 option cards that have a 0 to it for a certain color, I color the background blue for cold. If there's 4 or less zeros among all 15 option cards, then I color the background red for hot. Okay, so it gives me some separation. Okay, so what I try to do is try to correctly guess where these blue marks are going to come up. Okay, so I think a blue mark is going to be here in this green. So that means I think in all the green areas of all 15 option cards, I think there's going to be at least 5 green areas with a 0 to it. Okay, so I'm going to pick out a couple. Okay, so my first one is going to be option card number 9. Again, no green numbers. Okay, so the reason why I'm doing this is because the green number has hit 17 drawings in a row. Okay, so when there's a row here, that means that all 4 colors were represented. Okay, so usually after 2 rows in a row, there's usually a 0 somewhere around here. Okay, and again, since there's 17 drawings in a row, I'm going to predict that the 0 is going to be right here. Okay, and I'm going to eliminate all these green numbers off of my game card. Okay, so I got the 4 to the 65. So I'll get rid of those numbers. The next one is the 29, 6, 15, 24. Then over here, it's kind of like a bow tie looking thing. And then over here, it's the 36, 41, 51, 68. So I'll get rid of the 6, 15, 24, the 39, 48, the 36, 41, 51, and actually the 58 as well. Okay, so the reason why I'm getting rid of the 58, you can see that I got 5 numbers over here to the left, okay, on my game card. And as I go back to group 1, you can see that there's no numbers over here to the left, okay? So what I wanted was this grid of 8 squares across and 8 squares down, okay? And of course, that's only good for 64 numbers, okay? And there's 69 numbers in a lottery. So I had to pair a couple of these squares up. Like the 8 shares the square with the 66, the 19 with the 67, the 25 and the 65, the 53 and the 69, and the 58 and the 68, okay? So when I get rid of all these green numbers, I'm going to get rid of the 58 and the 68 as a group, along with all these other numbers, as all these other green numbers as well. Okay, so this is my way of grouping up numbers. All right, so the next one I'm going to pick is option card 13, no green numbers. Okay, so again, I thought more numbers were going to be to the left side. So that means, if I'm correct, that only a maximum of 2 numbers could be over here to the right side, okay? And now, since I think there's going to be lots of green misses, and you can see that there's been a bunch of rows. This one has hit 16 drawings in a row. And since this was a long streak, I think that this is going to be a short streak here. So I'm going to go ahead and get rid of all these green numbers, and that's the 6, the 8, 66, the 13, and the 15, that pattern all the way down. So I'll get rid of the 13, the 22, the 31, the 38, and the 40, the 45, 47, and the 54, 56. So hopefully none of those numbers come up because I just got rid of them, okay? So that's all I'm going to pick from this option card number, this group number 1, okay? So here's the rest of the option cards, all right? Again, I have 15 of them. Now, I don't like to pick at all of them. You know, I only like to pick at 1 or 2 because there's so many variables, okay? Like the row here and things like that. But if you can get them correct, if you correctly pick these, it will wipe out a ton of numbers here and give yourself a much better chance at winning some kind of prize in the Powerball lottery. Okay, so moving on to the next strategy, the last strategy, strategy number 5, picking the numbers I hope will miss from group 2. Okay, so what you're looking at here is what I call my group 2 numbers. Okay, so much like group 1, where I divided things into 4 different color groups, here I divided things into 8 different color groups. Okay, so it's just another way of looking at groups of numbers. All right, except with this, I know that there's 8 different color groups and there's only 5 white winning Powerball numbers. So I know that 3 of these color groups cannot have a winning Powerball number to it. So the strategy is try to correctly guess what color group will not have the winning Powerball number to it and eliminate that group of numbers off of the game card. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to update this here. Okay, so again, the winning numbers were the 5, that's in this purple area. The 12 is in the green. The 50 is in the blue. And the 61 and 69 are in the purple. Okay, so I always like to read things left to right. Now, I have 15 of these option cards as well, and they all have the same colors: red, blue, orange, green, purple, brown, gray, yellow. It's just that the numbers that they represent are a little bit different from each other from each different option card. Okay, so again, I'm going to update this, and as I was saying, I always like to read things left to right, so I got 1 blue, 1 green, and 3 purple. So down here is current. So I had no winning Powerball numbers in the red area. I had 1 in the blue, that 50. No winning Powerball numbers in the orange. 1 in the green, that 12. 3 in the purple, the 5, 61, 69. So I had no winning Powerball numbers in the brown, no winning Powerball numbers in the gray, and no winning Powerball numbers in the yellow. Okay, so how many groups did it hit? It hit 1, 2, and 3. So I'm going to write down 3, and I'm going to make this 3 green. Okay. Now the reason why I'm doing this is because the majority of the numbers are over here to the right side. Okay. So if I'm looking into the history for whatever reason and I see this 3 is red, well, I know the majority of the numbers are over here to the left side. Okay. So you can see that I have some red and some blue. Okay. So what that means is that, again, I like to break things down in the 5 so it shows me that majority. Okay. So here the majority is misses. It's been 3 misses in a row. So I'm going to color the background blue for cold. Here the majority is hits. So I'm going to color the background red for hot. Okay. So what I'm looking to do is, why I do this is when I see something like this over here in the red area where it's been really, really hot, well, I know that it's going to cool down eventually. I just have to correctly guess when that's going to happen. Okay. So with this first one, I'm going to predict that the brown area is going to have the 0 here. Okay, so I'm hoping it's going to be right here. All right. And there's going to be another blue mark here. Okay. That's my hope. So I'm going to get rid of these brown numbers off of my game card. And it runs from the 6 down to the 62. So I'm going to get rid of the 30 and the 46. So hopefully those numbers do not come up. Okay. So moving on to option card 2. Again, I have 15 of these option cards here. And the next one I'm going to pick is blue. So here's the blue area. And as I scroll down through, you're going to see that things got pretty hot through here. So I'm hoping that 0 is going to be right here. And I'm going to get rid of these blue numbers off of my game card. And it runs from the 9 to the 16. So I'll get rid of the 9, 10, and 16. So hopefully those numbers do not come up. Okay, so moving on to number 3, I'm going to go with gray. So here's the gray numbers right here. And as I scroll down through, you're going to see that things got pretty hot down through here. So I'm hoping that 0 is going to be right here. And I'm going to get rid of these gray numbers. And that's the 6 to the 30 and the 35 to the 59. So I'll get rid of the 35 and 43. Okay, so moving on to 4, I'm going to go with gray. So scrolling down through. Again, I'm hoping that the 0 is going to be right here. And I'm going to get rid of these gray numbers. And that's the 17 to the 20 and the 69 to the 56. So I'll get rid of the 17, 20, and the 55. Hopefully those numbers do not come up. Okay, so moving on to number 5. I'm going to go with purple. So here's the purple. As I scroll down through, you're going to see that things got pretty hot through here. So I'm hoping that the 0 is going to be right here. And I'm going to get rid of these purple numbers. So I'm just going to get rid of the 19 and the 28 because the 19 shares the square with the 67 here. So I'll get rid of those two numbers and hopefully they do not come up. Okay. So moving on to number 6, I'm going to go with orange, and the orange is 5, 14, 21, 30. But let me take a look at it first. So you can see that things got really hot down through here. So I'm hoping that 0 is going to be right here. And I'm going to get rid of these orange numbers. Again, it's the 5, 14, 21, 30 all the way down. So I'll get rid of the 21 and the 37. Okay, so moving on to the next one, option card number 7. I'm going to go with brown again. So here's the brown. And as I scroll down through, going to see that things got pretty hot through here. So I'm hoping that 0 is going to be right here. And I'm going to get rid of these brown numbers. And that's the 1, 10, 3, 12 all the way across. So I'll get rid of the 3 and the 7. So hopefully those numbers do not come up. So moving on, I'm going to go to 8. And I'm going to go with no red. So here's the red. So as I scroll down through, you can see that things got pretty hot through here. So I'm hoping that 0 is going to be right here. And I'm going to get rid of the red numbers. And that's the 5, 16, 21, 31 all the way down. And you can see that there's nothing to get rid of here. Okay. So here's the thing with this, okay? Now, I could go back to this option card number 8 and pick out a different color group, okay? But here's the thing. I keep track of all the stats for this, and basically the averages come out like 3.8 to 4.2, okay? And what I mean by that, what I'm trying to say here is that on average for all 15 option cards, the average is that 4 of these color groups are going to have a hit to it, and 4 of these color groups are going to have a miss to it, okay? So let's say that I'm correct with my pick here and no red numbers come up, okay? So if I come back to this option card number 8 and pick another color group here, the odds go way, way up that I'm going to get it wrong, especially if I got this red one correct already, okay? So I designed this to move on to the next option card where I had that 50-50 guess again, okay? So here with option card number 9, I'm going to go with green. So I'm hoping the 0 is going to be right here. And I'm going to get rid of these green numbers off of my game card. And that's the pattern of 465 on the left side and 1324 on the right side. So I'll get rid of the 57. So hopefully that number doesn't come up, okay? So moving on to option card number 10, I'm going to go with yellow. So here's the yellow. And you can see how hot things have been here. So I'm hoping that the 0 is going to be right here. And I'm going to get rid of these yellow numbers. And that's the 2065, that pattern in all 4 squares. So I'll get rid of the 52. Okay, and moving on. The next one is option card 11. I'm going to go with no red numbers, so it's the 6th. Whoops, I'm sorry. Let me take a look at this red here. So you can see that things have gotten really, really hot through here, so I'm hoping the 0 is going to be right here. And I'm going to get rid of the 614, 1765, and the 25, the 3543, 5664. And there's no numbers to get rid of. Okay, so I'm moving on. The next one is going to be option card number 12. No orange. Okay, so here's the orange. So as I scroll down through. Now it was pretty hot up here, so I'm hoping that the 0 is going to be right here. Another reason why I'm picking this is because it's been 7 drawings in a row where one of these orange numbers have come up. So I'm hoping that it's going to miss. So I'm going to get rid of these orange. It's the 1 to the 65 and the 37 to the 61. And there's nothing to get rid of here. Okay, so moving on to option card 13. I'm going to get rid of the gray numbers. So here's the gray. And as I scroll down through, you're going to see that things got pretty hot through here. So I'm hoping the 0 will be right here. And I'm going to get rid of these gray numbers. And that's the 5 to the 66 and the 33 to the 36. So here, I'm going to get rid of the 8 because it shares the square with that 66. And I'm also going to get rid of the 33 and 42. Okay, so again, I have 15 option cards, so we're almost done. So option card 14, I'm going to go with yellow. So here's the yellow. And you can see that things get heated up here, so I'm hoping that the 0 is going to be right here. And I'm going to get rid of these yellow numbers. And that's the 34 to the 44 and the 13 to the 7. So I'll get rid of the 34 and the 34. The 34 and the 44, I mean. Okay, so one last one that I'm going to get rid of is option card number 15, no brown numbers. Okay, so here's the brown. I'm sorry, I changed my mind on that. And I'm not going to pick from option card 15 because I just couldn't make a decision here. So I'm going to leave this alone and go back to the game card here where I have 6 numbers to choose from here. Okay. Now this 53, this shares the square with the 69. Okay. So I got to make a decision on what 5 numbers to keep. Okay, so what I'm going to do is, again, I thought more numbers were going to be in this blue area. Okay, so that means less numbers here, so I'm going to be picking from this area here. Okay, so what I'm going to do is, I thought there was going to be more low numbers than high numbers, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to get rid of the 53 here. So the numbers that I'm going to go with are the 2, 23, 26, 32, and 49. Okay, so I'm just going to highlight these. And again, the numbers that I'm going to go with are the 2, 23, 26, 32, and 49. Okay, so I think Sherlock Holmes said it the best when he said it's a matter of deduction. Okay, so if these blocked out numbers don't come up, then these highlighted numbers have to come up. Okay, so what are the odds that I made all the correct picks? Okay, so let me update this here. Kind of make it official. Okay, so what are the odds that I made all the correct picks? Okay, so let me go over the official odds. Okay, now the official odds, to get all 5 white ball numbers and the red ball, the grand prize, and the grand prize is up to 130 million for this drawing. Okay, the odds are 1 in 292 million that you're going to get it right. Okay? So my goal is to get all 5 white balls correct, and what I mean by that is that the game is kind of geared up for the white balls. Okay? The odds are just about 1 in 11,688,000. Okay? So in other words, you can make nearly 12 million 5-number combinations out of 69 numbers, okay? So I don't want to give any kind of illusions that this is going to be easy to win. It's more of a great way to entertain yourself picking your lottery numbers, okay? So the next big prize is 4 white balls and a red ball. That pays 50,000 plus the power play if you play it. And the odds of that are just about 1 in a million, okay? So you can see the other prizes here in the odds, okay? So I just want to go over a budget. You know, you can see that the higher amounts, the higher prizes, the odds are astronomical, okay? And of course, that's why it pays so well, okay? But if you spend $3 per drawing, okay, there's 2 drawings per week, you're going to spend $312 per year on the lottery, okay? So I just want to give you some perspective on that, okay? Now the last thing, one of the last things is I do have something for the Powerball number itself, the red number, okay? So basically what I did is I just took the 16, there's 26 red ball numbers, and I just divided those numbers in 2, okay? In this column here, so if you see a blue number, that's low, 1 to 13. If you see a red number, that's high, 14 to 26. And over here in this column, if you see a red number, that's odds. And if you see a blue number, that's evens, okay? So the reason why I like to break it down in the colors like this, if I see a streak of blue like this, well, I know it's going to turn red eventually. I just have to correctly guess when that's going to happen, okay? So I'm going to make a prediction here, and I'm going to say that this next one is going to be red. So I think it's going to be a high number. And over here, I think this is going to stay blue. So I think it's going to be a high, even number. Okay? So I'm just going to concentrate on the 14, 16, 18, 20, 22, 24, and 26. Those 8 numbers right there instead of all 26. Okay? I'm not sure which one I'm going to pick yet. That's going to be like a game time decision when I'm filling out my card. Okay? So in closing, I want to thank you for watching, okay? If you would like to support my channel, then please go to my Patreon page at www.patreon.com/Decoding the Powerball, okay? And as always, I want to wish you the best of luck with your picks.